That's two. Hi there. I'm Mike Morales. You are watching a special sipping off the cuff interview. That's right, folks. I'm not going to be doing all the talking, but I'm here in San Antonio. That gentleman out there is.
Jason Silverman.
And where are you, Jay?
I'm out here in the middle of Southwest in Phoenix.
Tell people, how hot is it out there, and I'll compare it with mine.
It's getting to be 110, but it's still early.
It's a dry heat, though, right? I've got something. It's supposed to be like 97 today, but the humidity kind of gets up there in the 40s, in the mid 40s. So it's like being in Florida. But anyway, you are meeting Jason Silverman, who is one of the newest TJs. He's one of our new tequila jockeys. We have had an amazing year in 2020. I know that we're sitting here, we're social distance drinking, but we invented it 20 years ago. So we've been doing this is nothing new for us. But I know Jason for a long time. He was actually one of my guest judges at my last tasting when I lived in New Mexico. But Jason, why don't you tell people before pandemic, what were you doing? Where were you?
Let's see. I'm working in hotels in Arizona, but going back about 15 or 20 years, I was a cook back then. I used to like to sip tequila all the time, and we got to know each other. And then I eventually, it was really more of a hobby, but I eventually ended up working at a tequila bar for quite a long time. And Agave, New York.
Was New York, right?
Yeah, we did about 6 years at Agave with Rocco's Tacos for a little while, and then Madre Mezcaleria, which is really fun. That was a great spot as well.
So Jason has a wide palette, and you may have seen him just recently, either on Instagram if you follow. What's your Instagram? Is it
Senor Silverman on Instagram?
Senor Silverman, and you also have a YouTube channel, right?
Also, Senor Silverman on YouTube, yeah.
Well, that's easy. That's an easy one to remember.
Fun cocktails we can learn.
Cocktails, but he also does. He's a great chef. Don't let him kid you. He was not a cook. He was a chef. This guy is very talented with a wide palette, and I couldn't think of anybody, more fun. I mean, you and I have known each other for a long time. I think originally you're from the Southwest, right? Is that correct, or New York?
No, I'm from Boston area, but my folks have been out here for like 20 years or more. So actually, going back to the 1990s, my sister went to ASU, so we kind of like made it our home base a long time ago.
Yeah,
that's why you're from here. It's been a long time.
I remember one time. Jay was working at a casino. It was what the largest Indian casino in that area, and it was a real tourist attraction. I got to tell you, one of the best steaks I ever had was there, and the other thing,
Rawhide. It was very well known out here.
Yeah, what's it called? Go ahead and give.
We were near the Wild Horse Pass resort. There was a resort casino, and then the steakhouse Rawhide has been around for many, many years. It's a very popular attraction in Arizona.
Well, that one, and is Talking Stick part of that complex, or is that another?
They're big. They're downtown with the arena, and then they have the big casino. But another fun fact about Rawhide: my wife and I actually met there. So.
Oh, really?
For almost 11 years, but we met at Rawhide, and around the same time that you came to visit that year in 20.
Yeah, I lived in New Mexico at the time, and what had happened was, I think at that time there were two big tequila shows, if I'm not mistaken. That's how that worked. And in that time, we myself and a good friend of mine, we drove to the shows were in the San Diego area. Well, actually, one was in Vegas, and then the other one was in San Diego, within 2 days of each other. So we drove. That was the first time we'd actually been to that particular show. And the old show the first one was at the Rio in Las Vegas, which was kind of at the same time as Mexican Independence Day. And then there was Spirits of Mexico, which is the big show in San Diego. And I think, I'm not sure if it was on the way out there or on the way back that we stopped to see you. and that's how we. But we had even been communicating a lot even before then. I think we were both members of the Ian Chadwick Forum, the Blue Agave Forum, and I think that's where everybody kind of got to know each other. And this thing about tequila tours. You weren't on the first tour with us, were you?
So I went on the second tour. I think it was 2007. But in 2006, we had known each other a bit, and I actually drove out from Boston area to Phoenix to move. It took me about 12 days, and I actually stopped in New Mexico. We got together and had a few tequilas. I don't know if you. And I brought with me some Siembra Azul that David Suro had given me from like one of the first batches. Incredible. So I was kind of my personal tequila tour across the country, which you later on perfected with the camper and everything else. But
oh yeah, geez, what a mess that is. Now I got my camper sitting out here. Ladies and gentlemen, we're in the middle of this is the end of July. We're still quarantined in place. Everything is still up in the air. You know, people in the service industry, restaurants, bars, places that we're so used to, we would congregate, you know, that have long histories. And so we were all set to, right at March, we were all set to go camping and just, you know, take a couple of weeks off. We were working really hard for a couple of years. And then everything came to a screeching halt. And I got to say, I don't know how many times I recommended people who were going to New York to visit you at Agave, because everybody that I sent there was so happy to meet you, and you had taken a lot of pictures. If you follow Jason on his Facebook, there's a lot of pictures of him. You were the bar manager at these and you know, you were part of that cocktail trend that really became this wave. You know, you were a big part of that in that town, and it's hard to do, you know, in New York and in that part of the area, to really educate, and I think a lot of people like David Suro were guests at your in your establishment, you know, that gave talks and things like that. So you were a big part of that. I mean, I know it was going on, but there were certain bars and restaurants where that was happening a lot, and yours was one of them.
Well, my first mission in those days, 2010 to like 2014, was really to bring in great tequilas and mezcals. The cocktails were just a gradual kind of like, you know, just a natural progression. But when I first started there, as coming from the kitchen, but I was more experienced with tasting tequila, and I kind of had that knowledge, and that's where I started to bring in better tequilas that they hadn't seen before at Agave, and then getting together with the Spirits of Mexico and that sort of thing, and hosting events. But we had some great times, and thank you for sending those people, because there's some great memories. But we also had, like, I remember one time, you know, Chris Milligan, who I met at the New Mexico Tequila Intimate Tasting Experience. Chris Milligan came. I think I just worked 6 or 7 nights in a row, and it was like a Saturday. I somehow got the night off and spent it with my family, and I couldn't even make it down to Agave. I felt bad, but there was times where people would text me or call me. It's like, I'm here. Are you here? And I'm here like 5 nights a week, and I just happen to miss you. But overall, we had so many great experiences with people coming from all over, and then just people who love tequila coming from all over the world and visiting. And we have a great reputation for having a great selection. At first, the selection was so big, I had to kind of like pare it down a little, and then after a while, it got really, really good.
Well, you know, you turned every place that Jason worked in, he made it what is known now as a destination location. You know, and like I say, outside of this pandemic, every place that he was in just improved, and the reputation and the cocktails. You know, your menu, if you're looking at those bottles behind his left shoulder, those are ones we're going to taste shortly. They're each going to have their own separate video as we do. And when I was confronted with these tequilas, I said, you know, I can't think of a better palate to throw this at than you, because don't be surprised we start throwing the kitchen sink at you, because the beauty of what you do is your creativity. Do you find it what was more creative for you? Was it on the cooking side, or was it on the mixology side of this whole trend?
Well, since I was younger as a cook, I really spent all those years in my 20s learning and growing and experiencing. And then as I got a little older, I took that experience and started to get creative with it in the bar. So now it's just second nature to me. So I can see, like, I'll just be sitting around and think, like, I have these beans. We used to do, I'm thinking of the saguaro cactus that you see everywhere when you go outside in Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
And we used to have this mesquite bean molasses. We used to have the saguaro blossom syrup that we would use at Kai, one of the fine dining restaurants I used to cook at.
Oh,
So it was a small little bottle of syrup, and it would just dot the plate, but it would add a boost of flavor. So using ingredients like that, I worked with, like, the chef Michael O'Dowd. He's a New York guy. He had worked for Boulé, and he was wildly creative. He was a big inspiration for me. Michael O'Dowd. So he had an unparalleled creativity in the kitchen, and that was one of the last few places I cooked before I started diving headfirst into the tequila bar. So the creativity now it's part of who I am. It's pretty awesome. I feel like I can throw a few things together if I need to.
Yeah,
I'm like, waiting for someone to ask who needs a drink. Sometimes I make drinks for my neighbor and they don't expect it, or a mailman, I gave him a sparkling water. That's all I could really in trouble.
The interesting thing is that Jay and I will text each other occasionally, not all the time, but for those of you who have read the kosher book, that initially that was just a big, huge article in Tequila Aficionado, but when Lisa joined us, it turned. She said, let's turn this into a book, and it became, well, the original question, how I started off the book, came from you. He sent me a text one day and he says, "Hey, aside from such and such and such and such tequila, what other kosher ones do we have?" And I said, "That's a great question. Who wants to know?" And he goes, "A rabbi." and so the next thing I started doing research on this whole thing. It turned into this monster, and I didn't realize how much of a business it is, and how important it has become. And that was all due to Jason, just a simple text. And that's the kind of thing it's the kind of relationship that we both have. So when we were confronted with these tequilas, I said, I would have thrown these at Jason, because we have this year, even though we're in the middle of a pandemic right now, this 2020 has been the hugest launch for agave spirits in general. And I'm not talking just tequila. We have talked this year, since before January, because we do these tastings probably late December, so that we get a head start in January of the following year. So we have had Raicilla, Bacanora, Sotol. We've had a Sotol that's outside the denomination of origin that's called Palmilla. I'm expecting worldwide. We've tasted one from Peru, one from Ecuador, and so it's this thing has exploded, and the brands, the wheels were in motion. Some of these brands are in the pipeline, anywhere from 2 to 5 years, and they're set to launch. So regardless of whether they can, how their marketing plans were set out to do a lot of event tastings and things like that, all that came to a halt. But for us, we still are doing what we're doing, and there are still brands out there who are wanting the attention and needing to launch, and they're coming to us. So I needed your help. Thank you so much for saying yes. And
thanks for bringing me into the family. We've known each other a long time. I'm excited to get more involved. But I just heard about a brand new Bacanora that has, like, Arizona connections from a good friend, Noah, who works at Elio in Las Vegas. That's the new what's his name? The chef from Atla in New York.
Not sure, man. You know all those people personally. You know.
Enrique Olvera of
Okay.
Cosme in New York City, and he has
Uh,
restaurants in Mexico City. He has a newer place in Las Vegas now called Elio. It's kind of a high-end Mexican restaurant. My friend is working as a sommelier there, doing mostly mezcals, high-end mezcal. It's a pretty cool position. Right now, they're only open a couple days a week. Hopefully, they'll have a good future.
yeah, I hope so. I hope that people wear their masks and stay distant and keep watching us, because when y'all are ready to hit the road again, and when things open up for us,
I've
you'll
got
know.
ready if I need it.
Oh, check you out! Look at that! You
I
got
don't
the
have.
mask.
If I go anywhere, I'm ready. It's been in my pocket. So,
Dude, I love that it matches your shirt, man.
the Tequila Aficionado T-shirt. So I need that new orange and purple. That I saw the purple one's really nice.
Yeah, yeah.
All colors.
I've got a long sleeve red one, and I've got a black one and a white one. I've got an orange one. I had that bright county jail orange.
I'm gonna put in an order later. Maybe I'll try. I might try to send you some cocktails in the mail and trade.
Okay. Anyway, that's our interview with Jason Silverman. But stick with us, because we're going to try and dissect this new tequila, 21 Seeds. So stick with us. Jay, thanks again for saying yes, man. I so appreciate it. We're going to be throwing the kitchen sink at you. But anyway, that's our interview on a special Sipping Off the Cuff. We used to call these open bars, but I've been told that we shouldn't call them that anymore. I don't know why. But anyway, whatever you do, tomar sabiamente.
Sip wisely, my friends.